You are listening to the show on Chooks TV. Your willingness defines you. What does the word willingness got to do with your success? First, let's look at what does it mean. Willingness, the dictionary defines it to be the quality or state of preparedness to do something. And so willingness has to do with that. The ability to do is already a given. The individual can do something, but it's about, do they want to do it? When we use the word, are you willing to do? It's not about can you do it, but it's about a willingness. It has nothing to do with ability or power, but it's about a wanting. It's about an inclination or a disposition to do something. So willingness talks about a readiness for action. That is how I like to define the word willingness. That willingness is a readiness for action. You are ready to do something. You're ready to do something about something. Can I tell you that far more than ability is about willingness that defines your success in life? Because ability or skill can actually be learned. Any skill can be learned, but it's more of willingness. More people fail in the area of willingness. Like the anecdote goes that you can take a horse to the stream, but you cannot make or force the horse to drink water. It has to be something that comes from within. And so that is a place of willingness. That is the area that far more people in life are tripped. It's about the area of willingness. And so one of them be asking yourself the question, and so what are the challenges or what are the issues around willingness? So many things challenge or fight our willingness about things. That is where the whole concept of mental acuteness, mental toughness, executive toughness is really, really about. That is about how you use yourself, how you use your mind, how you use your emotion, how you use the resources that you've got inside, and you use them to shift and to change things. That is the place of willingness. The ability is a given. You can do a lot of things, but it's illness. Our thoughts, negative beliefs, negative things that are hitting and sapping at our confidence. The very thought of something like doubt, unbelief, they, they hit at your willingness that look, you've tried something, you've done something, and it didn't work out. And so the question then happens, so why do it again? And so you don't see the reason. And so the motive or the motivation is not there to do it again. And so if you think about it, what is behind all this is there is a loss of hope, there is a loss of expectation. That is one strong area why people aren't willing. They don't bring themselves to do something. The readiness to do something is attacked because hope is being attacked. I know I'm talking to a wide audience. Many of us are people of faith, and a lot is said about faith. What is faith? Faith is some certainty of something. Certainty of something. But so of what? What you don't see. Certainty of expectation. Two things I want to bring out of that, that faith has to do with that certainty. And then the second part is expectation. So faith is a certainty of expectation, certainty of replace expectation with hope. Then I'm beginning to see that whereas a lot of us want to major on faith, a lot is talked about faith, about confidence, about the certainty, but it builds on something. You're only going to be certain of what you do not see, certainty around your expectation. And so the beginning point for so many of us where we are lacking, can I tell you, it's not even in the area of faith, but it's around the area of hope. You don't have a strong hope. You don't have a hope that lasts throughout all things. You don't have a hope that is an anchor that keeps your hope, that keeps your soul grounded, that like a ship is a rope, an anchor that keeps that ship to the shore, because there are storms, there are waves that is want to pull the ship away from where it is positioned, away that it just goes into the seas. But so you need an anchor for that, your soul. You need an anchor. That anchor is hope. And so if you want to be strong in faith, you got to do something about your hope. And can I tell you, this is a bonus, really, really an extra, but everywhere you look at it is a bonus. I can come out, I can look at it in so many different angles. Is what? If your hope is only based on what you see, what you feel, your emotions, and all that, your hope is so gonna be easily defeated. Let me, if you are a person of faith, especially most of us here are, the hope that cannot be defeated is the hope of the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. You still have hope of heaven, not just hope of this earth. If your hope is only based on what you see, based on things on this earth, can I tell you, you're going to be defeated so many times. And so ground your hope. We don't look at the things that we see. We set our hearts on not what we see, not on things that are earthly, but on things that are above. Things that are above. That is the hope that you must be feeding. That hope, nothing can defeat it. And so, upon that hope, as an anchor, every part, everything else about our lives must be anchored, must be hanging upon, must be built and fitted upon like a car. I'm a mechanical engineer, by the way. If you look at a car, if you look at an automobile, the engine is good, great. But do you know that the engine and everything else about all that car is put upon the chassis of the car? The chassis holds the engine, holds everything. The chassis. So that's what I'm talking to you about. That you need to have that expectation, that like a chassis of your life. And so that is where the willingness can get fueled from. Because when you don't have an expectation, there wouldn't be a willingness. Because whatever you're going to accomplish in life is going to cost you something. It's going to require that you move. It's going to require that you do something. And so as we start off a new week today, I'm reminded of that statement by John Wooden, John Wooden, if I'm not mistaken, that 80% of success is showing up. To show up, you got to be willing. To show up, you got to be willing. And for you to be willing, you must have an expectation. You must have an expectation. You must have an expectation. And let me give you another bonus over here. I like bonuses. Okay. Let me give you another bonus. Really extra. Beyond just the regular business stuff, but something that's going to ground you, get you to win all around 360 degrees in your life. Let me give you that. It's about what we don't like to talk about. What we don't like to talk about. Why, again, you may not be willing is because of fear. Fear of failure. But do you know that success means that you're risking to fail? You're risking to fail. If you're going to succeed in life, you must risk something. And so, willingness, if you want to win in life, you got to be willing to be a fool. You got to be willing to fall. You're going to be willing to be laughed at. You're going to be willing to be mocked. That is why I say it again and again in this show that one of the reasons why we fail in life because we take ourselves too seriously. If you take yourself too seriously, you wouldn't want to fail. And if you don't want to fail, how are you going to succeed if you don't want to fail? Just look at a small child. How a small child ever gets to learn anything, learn to walk, learn to talk, and all that. The child makes attempt. He does not succeed, but does that tell the child, say, look, you can't make it? No. The child just keeps doing it. And so the fear of failure is a learned habit. What have I just said now? that fear, most of our fears are learned habits. We just learn it. And so for the child, the way the child learns anything succeeds is by daring to fail, which is where courage comes about, mental toughness is about. You must put yourself out. You must show up. And so when you are showing up, you are like, look, being willing to fail. That look, if you fail, it doesn't mean anything. So how are you going to sell in life if you are afraid of rejection? And so selling means that you are willing to be rejected. If you are not willing to be laughed at, to be scorned at, if you're not willing to be made a joke of, then you can succeed. That brings me to the second bonus that I said I was going to give to you. But what keeps people down is fear. But do you know the mother of all fears is death? But it's a paradox actually. That if you want to live, then you're going to be willing to die. If you're going to make any mark, then you're going to dare death in the face. So if you are afraid of talking about death, we all will die. So death should be out of the equation. Death should be out of the equation. And so the way we live is to be willing to die. By being willing to die, we will actually live. When you dare death, that's only when you can live. And so, if you want to succeed in life, you must deal with fear. You must confront fear. That is one word that, when I understood this, it just has a very special place and meaning in my life, in my vocabulary, a special place. What is that word? Is confront. You must, like I spoke with a friend just before this show, is that he says something about Goliath. You must kill your Goliath. You just must. You don't run from your Goliath. You're going to face your Goliath. Staying away from the challenges of your life doesn't make life easier. It only worsens things. And so this week, please, I beg of you, face your challenges. Face them head on, head on, head on. Procrastinating, indecision, they just worsens things in your life. So take on those big challenges. I love it. If I recommend 10 books to anybody, one of those books will be Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. Eat That Frog. Take on the most